Hello, welcome to PG Rated. I'm, of course, Patrick Leeson, your host. No review today. I'm just gonna figure it out, explain to people how I rate the movies, like it's based on 12 pack of beer, how I came up with that, and also how I can do the same amount of stars for, let's say, My Name is Bruce, or Logan, say. Alright, well, yes, everyone does their own little thing, and I was trying to figure out why am I going to do, how am I going to rate movies? Then I figured, I love beer. And beer and movies go well together, especially for Netflix night. So that's where I decided that's how I'm going to rate my beers. Off of 12 pack of beer. Then again, you have the different domestic, imported, and high premium beers. Or microbreweries that can usually go in with the high-end brewery ones. That's where I was coming from. So when I give a 12 or a 10 out of 12 good beers, or imported beers, that's like one of the best ratings I could possibly give. But I've given things like 8 out of 12 domestic beer, which means it's sort of the enjoyable type thing. It's one you can watch with your buddies, but it's nothing fancy, not the best thing that you're gonna, if you really want to enjoy yourself, if you're a beer snob like myself, you'll be like, okay, it's all right, thank you for it, it's a barbecue, I'll drink it, but if I had my choice, I'd go for something else. So that's the idea. So this is where I have a whole range of different types of movie ratings. I go, there's not just the 12, there's different types of beer as well. So when people go, hey, Avatar, like, yes, I hated Avatar, I'll give it points for amazing visual effects. But Matrix did better. Matrix had brand new bullet time, but it also had a decent story. They didn't just go, let's set on this story about unobtainium and basically Dances with Wolves meets Pocahontas meets a whole bunch of other stuff. They actually did a story. That's why Avatar gets a low rating. Jupiter Ascending gets even worse because it's messy. The story is even worse than Avatar. And although pretty, it's just way too much to pay attention to. Whereas Logan gets a 10 out of 12 good beers because it has a good story. However, there's flaws with it. Like, I still haven't seen one movie where I'm going, that could not be improved about. There's a few, and I'll get into those later on when I'm doing other types of reviews. But Logan, just some minor stuff here and there that just could have been improved. But then I go, My Name is Bruce, with Bruce Campbell. Like, why would I rate that so high? As soon as Big Trouble in Little China. It's a sort of a B movie. And that's just it. I know it's a B movie. They have less money for production. So post-production, CGI, and all that sort of stuff is not going to be there. They won't have the ability to do that. So those are stories I'm looking at for the story, the acting, the dialogue, and the actual just plot lines and stuff like that. That what determines for me what makes a decent, good movie, even though it's less budget to start with. So this is why things like Age of Ultron is good, but it's not as good as Deadpool, which had a lot less money for the budget. Or even as good as, for me, Army of Darkness, which had even less money. So you got to keep it in perspective. And also, what sort of movie do you want? I saw Bright. I liked Bright. There are problems with Bright. There are many problems with the story and plot lines and trying to do the social commentary and failing. I know. But as I say, if you're just going for a straight up Will Smith action buddy cop movie, it's alright. That's a movie you can watch on a Friday night, turn your brain off, just watch the action. It doesn't need more than that. So that's why I say, for that type of movie, it's good. It's an 8 or 9 out of a 12 pack of decent beers. Not just the low end of domestic, but just, sort of the good range ones. So that's why I wanted to explain, because I'm going to be doing a lot more movie reviews and I'm hoping to have more people watching me. So I'm doing this to explain where I come from when I say this movie gets 10 out of 12 pack of good beers and this movie only gets 6 or 5 domestic. Like, for example, Jupiter Ascending, I give 1 or 2 of crappy beer that's been left on a deck outside for days. So it's shite. You're like, oh wow, it looks cool, I found beer, and then it tastes like puke in your mouth. That's that. So I've gone the whole range, and don't get me wrong, I like bad movies. with my buddies, we used to watch a whole bunch of different ones. Werewolf Cop and stuff like that. Those are good bad movies. Or movies where you know they're not that good, but you're laughing because there's just so much wrong with it. The Room, things like this, which just they hit on the right level of laughing instead of groaning. But then there's, like I said, those are usually lower budget movies. That's for me helps determine what a good bad movie is. It has low budget, very little production value, no post production or anything. It's sort of like, okay, shit, we need a movie, here we go. So like they're Fantastic Four movie that was never released way back in the 70s, but they needed to do it to keep the rights. That movie is actually better than any other Fantastic movies I've seen. Again, it's crap production, but it's actually better as a story than anything else Fantastic Four related. And like I said, then there's the really shitty movies that have big budget that should be better because they have the budget to get scriptwriters, to get directors, to get post-production, to do all that sort of stuff, and they fail. So that's where I can't laugh at those movies and or enjoy them, because I just see how much of a waste it's been for the actors and stuff like that. So that's my other explanation. Thank you.